What is going on, everybody? Welcome into another edition of the Daily Energy News Beat Stand-Up here on this gorgeous Friday, January 13th, 2022. As always, I am your humble correspondent, Michael Tanner, coming to you from an undisclosed location here in Dallas, Texas, joined by the executive producer of the show, the purveyor of the show, the director and publisher of the world's greatest website, energynewsbeat.com, Stuart Turley. My man, how we doing today?
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood here in Dallas. Love it.
Yeah, no, it was actually a great day. We have a great show for you guys lined up. It is Friday. We appreciate you guys sticking with us all this week. We hope you've got 1 to 2 meetings that you can slip in early, slip out of early, and start your weekend. But first, we will cover a couple things. First, Morgan Stanley's got a new report out. They say tight supply to support oil prices in 2022. In 2023, excuse me. Stu's got an article on Newsbeat that we'll talk about there. We also ran a story. JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon, the U.S. must revamp its domestic energy policy. We love Jamie Dimon here at Energy Newsbeat. We also have a story. Sweden discovers largest rare earth mineral deposit in Europe. I'm highly skeptical. I think they're making the classic critical versus rare earth misstep, but we will cover and dive into what that means for Sweden and really what that means for Europe and their mineral supply. I mean, I hope it is because they truly need it. 100 million barrels of crude oil may never return be returned to the SPR. Dun, dun, dun. Be very interesting to see what happens with the crude oil storage reserves. Remember, we have done a massive drawdown over the past 6 months. And then this one just makes us laugh. Taliban unveils Afghanistan's first supercar, codename Frankenstein. So you're just gonna have to go look at this one online, folks. It's absolutely hilarious. Stu will kick it over to me for finance. I've got a couple things. We're obviously going to talk about crude oil prices. We're currently trading about 78.34. A lot of more bullish sentiment starting to build around crude oil. So we'll cover what that means. And then really on natural gas, the absolute crazy build in the natural gas storage numbers of 11 BCF. I'm pretty sure that's the first time that's happened in January. So we will cover the implications of that and why gas prices are still depressed, currently trading $3.66. We will cover all that and a bag of chips, guys. But first, check us out on the world's greatest website, www.energynewsbeat.com, the best place for all of your energy news, and it's where all of the stories that we reference come from. Check out the links in the description below. You can also check us out, dashboard.energynewsbeat.com. It's our 1.0 version of our one-stop shop for news and data. We've currently got a couple data points rolled out on top of all throttling multiple different news feeds there that are available via the website. So check it out. Dashboard.energynewsbeat.com. As today you listen to this, we are unveiling version 1.1, mainly going to be some style updates. So you look for that. Again, dashboard.energynewsbeat.com. But enough of the pleasantries, Stu. We got a long show. Where do you want to kick us off?
Let's start out with 100 million barrels of crude may never be returned to the SPR. Don't fall out of your chair, Michael. I know that you're just kind of like, whoa, I'm shocked. First, the crude speculation, when they unloaded and tried to manipulating the market is not necessarily even, you can't even do it. First, there's the crude speculation issue. Unbelievable. Is oil going up, Michael? Is oil going down? The second, the market moves in strange ways. So if you're going out there and trying to manipulate something, this is not a good idea. And the cost, this is straight out of the article. A bigger problem is, however, the Department of Energy can afford to refill the SPR, as far as Wall Street's Gino Lee suggests in a recent article, and the answer to that question is no. They can't afford it. It's 180 million barrels of crude from the SPR last year probably generated some 17.3 billion in proceeds at an average price of 96 per barrel. But this 17.3 billion 12.5 billion was set aside for use in Congress in the last spending bill. That's exactly what I told you the other day, Michael. They've already reappropriated that money somewhere else. It ain't there anymore. Oops.
Yeah, and here we go. And so this leaves the DOE with only 4.8 billion to spend on replenishing the SPR, according to Lee. And this could only lead them to, it's what, 70? It looks like it's 70 million barrels you can buy at a $70 price level. And it's 78 now. Good luck.
Didn't I call that 2 weeks ago? I said,
I'm sure.
Yeah. I'll go get the transcript. I'll make one up, but think about it. They already spent the money.
They did.
Go figure that out.
Spend the money.
Okay.
I mean, it's not a strategic petroleum reserve anymore. It's a strategic political petroleum reserve. That's really what it is. The SPPR, the Strategic Political Petroleum Reserve, just came up with that.
Then Ukraine is a strategic cash flow for politicians fund.
Okay, we get it. Let's move on.
Okay, let's come over here to tight supply of oil prices in H2 in second half of the year, Morgan Stanley says. So when we take a look at this one, Morgan Stanley in the article, I'm just going to read straight from the article. We see the oil market coming into balance in second quarter and then turning tight in Q3 and Q4, supporting higher prices this year. I would almost agree with that. They also say in there that Brent crude was trading around 83 on Thursday, but they think that pegging to the upside, oil demand in China will be reopening close to 1 million barrels per day. I'm seeing that even though, Michael, that the airlines are opened up again, they're very disappointed in the amount of air travel. So everybody's been saying, hey, we may be opening up, we may be rolling up, but it doesn't look like everybody's going to be spending all their money in the air like I thought they were going to.
No, I think of all of the banks to come up with their oil predictions, this is probably the most balanced in my opinion. So, I'm not going to, I can't really drown on this parade too much. If only to say, they've given themselves some cushion. So I like when you bake in a little bit of a bear case into your analysis, which I like. So there's nothing to shame about. I wonder where Goldman Sachs is. They're still writing up their $140 prediction. They're too busy trying to buy out Pierre Andron's hedge fund.
No kidding. Yeah, I'm only afraid to say that. Okay, hey, let's go to the next one here. When we were over in Afghanistan, you and I, we were out there looking for all these kind of rare earth. No, I'm just kidding. When we were over there and you take a look at this next one, Taliban unveils Afghanistan's first supercar, codename Frankenstein. For our podcast listeners, there is a beautiful looking car there. Looks like a Maserati or something. There's two gentlemen standing in front of it, but let me read this. I just can't do anything better. The first supercar from Afghanistan is called the Mazda 9, and it looks similar to a McLaren or a Bugatti from a distance. The designers have used different parts from other vehicles, mostly Toyota parts, to build the first model.
Hey, Toyota can build a nice car. I mean, that's a good looking car.
It is a good looking, but he said Twitter shows the mechanics of the car. Any car enthusiast would compare it to a kit car.
It's like a Hot Wheels. Little kid, you got Hot Wheels.
Yep. And then he says the question remains what's under the hood. Several tweets revealed the engine is comparable to a Toyota Corolla hatchback.
Oh, well, hey, I mean, if you don't look under the hood, what do they say? Ignorance is bliss. But
some hoods are best left not looked under.
Yeah, I
Okay.
mean, and if Stu, I mean, we're capitalists here. If
Well,
we need to start helping brokering the Taliban selling supercars, I'm open. I'm open.
they could have taken some Hummer engines and really dropped those in there, or some all
Well,
the
yeah, how much gear did we leave over there?
800 billion, I think, something like that.
Oh,
So, there's a lot of engines over there. So if they're over there taking a Toyota Corolla engine and turning it into a supercar, man, you and I could have done better with some Band-Aid,
yeah.
duct tape, and everything else. Okay. So let's go to JP Morgan. I want you to run with this bad dog. I love Jamie Dimon. He is absolutely a hoot. And Dimon doubled down on his previous comments that banks shouldn't cut off investments in oil and gas, despite the ongoing criticism toward financiers of fossil fuels. Here is his quote. So if I can stop financing a good oil company that isn't going to help, what we need is pipeline permits. We can't even get the permits to build solar. Dimon told the Mornings with Maria on program on Fox. I like him.
I'm a huge Jamie Dimon fan ever since he said it would be when he got asked a question about getting off fossil fuels in front of Congress, and his answer was that would be the road to hell in America. So, I mean, hats off to him. Hats off for him for doubling down on this. He's exactly right. What we need is permits. As he mentioned, we can't get solar permits. It's so hard to build anything nowadays. So his idea,
quote,
I don't think we're just a pipeline away from solving this issue. I think we need years of not sustained investment, but people, we need to, I saw some very interesting news today. I mean, we might be at peak oil here in America. Now that, we may not be able to get back to our productivity level ever, less this crazy amount of investment, much like we saw from 2010 to 2016. So I think it's going to be a very interesting environment, but I love me Jamie Dimon, and I like him coming out saying this. I think he's spot on.
Oh, I agree. And unless the political environment changes, I would agree with that statement you just made. I think this is the other thing I thought was critical. I think we're spending too much time just yelling and screaming at each other, as opposed to what we need to accomplish these things, these very important goals of climate sustainability and resiliency, and efficient and effective oil and gas delivery. He is just right on. I'd like to run him in as president. I think that'd be great.
Yeah, I mean, I probably don't want him as our president, but I doesn't mean I don't think
Why, he's
a
too
great
smart?
guy. I mean, do I really want the world's most powerful banker now all of a sudden becoming the world's most powerful man? I don't know.
He's got to be better than what's in there now.
Yeah, so Sandy would be though. So I mean,
Right.
my dog.
All right, last one here. I got tickled at this, and since one of my best friends out there is a mines grad, especially with his master's from the School of Mines, I figured you would get a kick out of this one. Michael, what's Sweden normally known for?
I don't know really. I don't know what I think when I think of Sweden. I don't think of anything. I think of somewhere I probably don't ever want to go.
Blonde hair, and blue eyes. And so when you sit back and take a look, now they're saying that the title of this article is Sweden discovers largest rare earth deposit in Europe.
Ooh.
That sounds really good, Michael. But when I went through and read the article on this, it says rare earth minerals are vital of the making high-tech goods. They're used in electric vehicles, wind turbines, portable electronics, and the deposit is quite significant. But you go through there and say everything is next to an iron mine, but it gives absolutely zero details as to what rare earth or critical minerals are there. I thought it was like, where's the rest of the meat on this article?
Well, here's my thing.
Okay.
A couple things. One, it's Al Jazeera. That's the news source. Speaking of the Taliban, they're probably funded by the Taliban.
No.
So, what, you got to consider the source. Okay. What's, and number two, I don't think they're using rare earth minerals correctly. I think they're talking about critical minerals, because critical minerals, they say rare earth minerals are vital to making many high-tech goods. They're used in electric vehicles, wind turbines, portable electronics, microphone speakers. That's critical minerals.
Right.
What you described is the definition of critical minerals. So I don't think they actually know what they're talking about. Ergo, I'd be very interested, to actually know what happened there in Sweden. I mean, is there any other articles we can find on this?
I will have it while you look at your finances.
Well, I mean, again, here's my thing. We have to be very particular about critical minerals versus rare earth minerals. Rare earth minerals are necessary, but not life-changing. Critical minerals, on the other hand, are extremely valuable and something that Europe has very little of, which is domestic minerals in-house. So
that's exactly right.
A critical mineral find in Sweden would be huge for the EU. It would be huge for their security, their mineral security going forward. Because much like we have oil, the SPR, the Strategic Petroleum Reserve here, Stu, we have a critical minerals stockpile, and other countries are starting to build up their critical stockpiles too. That's where I think this is becoming very handy for Sweden. But again, without more details, it's going to be extremely skeptical. So, yeah, now the first thing I think of Sweden is going to be critical minerals. Stu, you got anything else?
No, just knock yourself on the finances.
All right. I mean, a fairly flat day for the markets overall, Stu. It's, SPY was up 0.3 percentage points, NASDAQ up 0.5 percentage points. Yields up 0.26 percentage points. Bitcoin trading about 18,800. Crude oil, to start us off, had probably the best day. It's had two back-to-back green days, currently trading 78.31. And again, you're really just riding a bullish sentiment. A lot of this is the China quota numbers, the China reopening last weekend. I hate to sound like a broken record, but that's really what's driving it right now. I think people are and the sentiment is shifting towards the market will get tighter as we move forward. So again, it's just going to be interesting how this plays out. But if you're on the side and you're listening to this Friday, I expect a strong finish to the week. And if we can touch 80 and close this weekend out on a bull note, so that'll be 3 winning days. And I think from a sentiment standpoint, will play well rolling into next week. I think a lot of the action, Stu, is really on the natural gas side, because think about this. We had natural gas inventories today. We had the range of expectations was either going to be a 73 BCF draw or an 11 BCF build. Okay. First off, it's even insane that someone was expecting an 11 BCF build, considering the time when we've never had a January build or this early in January. It's never happened before. But what gets printed today at 10:30, Stu? An 11 BCF build on to absolutely, in my opinion, which is pretty shocking. But guess what happened? Natural gas inventories was actually trading up at about 380. Now it did fall off a cliff, and we're still currently trading about 363, 367 right now, but it's the same spot at where it opened. So on a net movement, we're still back at where it was. So the market is obviously seeing something that, okay, yes, we have huge build numbers on natural gas, but it didn't get wiped out as much as I necessarily would have expected. Nat Gas Intel does note that the weather models for the longer term are looking to do a little bit colder than originally expected. So you might see some of this turn back. I know Freeport now is pushed out until end of February, March, but I'm not seeing much steam on the bull side, Stu, and I'm afraid to get back on the train. So I will stay bear, but I'm optimistic one way or the other. Where do you think, everyone every day gets my opinion on where prices are going. Where do you see prices finishing this next quarter, Stu?
I used to be a little bit more out there, but I think we're going to hold flat, because seeing the articles today on that people are not flying like they thought, especially coming into this next big travel, saying that it's opening up, the demand may not be there. So
I mean,
I'm hopeful. You know me, I'm a perma bull.
oh, we know you're perma bull, but also depressing at the same time. It's a very interesting concept. It's a very interesting concept. But with that, guys, we're going to let you get out of here and start your weekend. We appreciate for sticking through us all this week. Check out our version 1.1 release on dashboard.energynewsbeat.com. It's where lives are saved on that website. So please check it out. Have a great weekend, guys. For Stuart Turley, I'm Michael Tanner. We will see you tomorrow, a.k.a. Monday.